Hello, I'm Frank Korb. I'm one of the 3 art teachers here at Waterford High School. Ms. Lisa Dukowitz is one of our other teachers. She does a lot of the digital photography, well, all of the digital photography. Computer graphics, as well as some of the other classes in the craft section. We also have Mr. Brett Roberts, who is our 3-dimensional art teacher, ceramics, stained glass, metals, sculpture. So as you come into the building and you run across them, please say hi. Got some goals for us today, and that is to keep this under 5 minutes for your benefit and for mine, so I hope to get that. And really what I'd like to do is give you a brief insight into how the art department, or at least my classes in the art department, work. So trying to get through this in 5 minutes. We'll see how we can do. Thank you first off for purchasing the binders for your students. Appreciate that. In that binder, you'll have a sheet that looks a little bit like this. This is our Welcome to the Art Department sheet. It talks about the goals and the standards of the class. The reason we use binders in my classes is because we, every single day, just like I started this out with, was we start with goals. And our daily goals sheets will look like this. Just hold that up. And so on Monday, we take care of a couple of goals which are based on the National Visual Arts Standards. Another aspect of the binder that we have are our weekly sketchbook assignment grading sheets. And that looks like this. So every single week when our students deal with their weekly sketchbook assignments, they're going to take some time and self-evaluate. Speaking of evaluation, our grades are based on 4 different parts. Throughout most of the courses, we deal with 4 different aspects to the critique. The first part is execution, how well you use the materials, how well you manipulated the paint or the colored pencils or followed the instructions that were given. The second part is dealing with composition. And that's how artists use the elements and principles to organize the picture plane of the artwork that they're working on. The third portion is character, and that's really how well you use your studio time, how well you participate, your positive attitude, and that all goes into it. And the last part, and we don't all use this, but the upper classes will use one based on critiquing. The intro class does toward the end of this semester, but critiquing is self-evaluation and also evaluating the work of others. Our daily goals are going to be on our goals page, our goals page website, and you can find that at korbartwuhs.wordpress.com, and you can see that right here. I'll have that printed up there for you. korbartwuhs.wordpress.com. And as a parent or a guardian or even a student, I highly recommend and suggest that you subscribe to that feed. So every morning at 5 o'clock when I put one out there, you'll have that and you can see what's happening in class that day. Or you can email me at fkorb@waterforduhs.k12.wi.us. And again, right there, you can see that. One of the things that I really emphasize to my students, and I try really hard to get these guys, gals, to give it their all, to give it their best shot. And I guarantee that if that level of effort is the highest the kids can produce, they're going to make successful artwork. Now, it's not necessarily going to look like the stuff that we see in our textbooks or when we go to the Milwaukee Art Museum or the Museum of Modern Art in New York. It's not going to look like a Picasso or a Monet or, well, other artists, but it's going to be successful. And it might not even look like what their neighbors are doing, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. We've all got our own skill sets, and we're going to work with those. Speaking of skill sets, the 4 different things that we look at in each and every one of our artworks is based on discipline-based art education. It doesn't really mean much to you necessarily, but we look at art making. We look at art history. We look at aesthetics, what makes something beautiful, or why it's beautiful in 2012, 2013, or whenever, versus why it was beautiful in the 1450s. There's big differences there. And so we take a look at that. Grades. General grades are broken down like this. The major artworks are worth 50% of the grade. So that's really the biggest thing that we deal with. Sketchbooks. Sketchbooks are weekly assignments, and they're worth 25% of that quarter's grade. And the last part is the character, the effort, the attitude, the time that's spent, how we deal with that day-to-day. Do we struggle through the problems? Do we simply give up? And that's a lot of what making great art is. There's no talent in it. It's skill. It's effort. It's that sort of thing that makes great art. So let's see. I've covered just about everything except for this, late work. Oh boy, late work is something that I discourage. But if it's going to get done and it's going to get done late, I'd rather it get done late than not at all. And so the way that artwork that is late in my class works is whether it's 1 day late or 20 days late, well, 20 is kind of far, but it's marked down 20%. Again, I'd rather have the work in on time, but if it's going to be late, it needs to be recognized as being late, so that's what it is. Again, a 70% or a 50% is still better than a 0, so keep that in mind. My upperclassmen, my upper levels are going to need a Google account because a lot of what I'm doing is paperless, hence no letter home. It's here, you're watching it. So if you don't have a Google account, that's something we'll either set up or we're going to have you set up on your own because a lot of what we do is on the Google Drive. And let's see, expectations, I set that up, I think. I'll talk about that more to the individual students in class. Rubrics, we talked about that. And let's see, the last thing we've got is the PBIS philosophy. And I truly believe that, especially in this art room, we can accomplish that. Be respectful, be responsible, be prepared. So that's that. If you have any questions, please give me a call. Again, my name is Frank Korb, and I've got 8 minutes and 29 seconds, which I need to knock down to 5, so I've got to figure out 3 minutes to get rid of. So if you have any questions, email me, call me, text me. Well, you'll figure that out. Thanks for watching. I appreciate your time. Have a great semester. Bye.